It's literally like I'm doing like an operation, a surgical operation on my mind without any anesthesia. It's like going to prison. You can think of it in those terms, but why did I choose to do it? That was the hardest, craziest thing I've ever done, ever in my life. And I'll just give you a couple examples. I went to a Travis Scott concert in Milan, and there was an earthquake there. You can look it up. I went to Ibiza when I was 18, and I've climbed the Grand Canyon. I've road tripped across the entire America, USA, from LA to New York. I've did a 55-hour train ride across all of China to Tibet earlier this year, and I went to see Mount Everest. And this 10-day Vipassana retreat has easily been the craziest, hardest thing I've ever done. And I just got back. I finished the course yesterday in Joshua Tree, and now I'm at the beach because I was in so much hot. It was 100 plus like every day in the desert, dry. Now I need some water and air. I hopped in the ocean, felt so good, and I'm scared of the ocean. For those that know me, I can't swim, and I'm just scared of the ocean. But I wanted to come on here and talk about my experience. And also, if you can guess, first 3 people to guess where I'm at. This is my favorite beach in the world, and I like to flex about it because not a lot of people go here. But if you can guess which beach I'm at, the hint is I was in Joshua Tree for the retreat. So I'll give you $50. I'll send you $50. Just comment down below. First 3 people, hands down. If you know me, just text me. I'll take you out to dinner or something. And I'm gonna ramble. So the preface of the thing is why I did it, why I decided to do the course, what the course was, and then takeaways, even though it's been a day. And obviously the material of the video is gonna get deeper as it goes on. So for those that don't know, it's a 10-day silent, no phone, no talking. There's noble silence, so you can't even look at people, and you can't even make glances or gestures. None of that's allowed. It's completely segregated. You take 5 precepts. I'm gonna list them here. And then you are just within yourself, isolated within yourself. I personally thought the facilities were great. Everyone gets a single room, and for the meals, it's vegetarian. If you know me, or just if you don't know me, I love to eat meat, but I thought I would, and I'm gonna go into it, but it was genuinely the craziest thing I've done. And I say that because there's never been a point in my life where I've not consumed anything, ever. And I'll talk about why I did it, because only like a insanely weird person chooses to do this willingly. It's literally like I'm doing like an operation, a surgical operation on my mind without any anesthesia. It's like going to prison. You can think of it in those terms, but why did I choose to do it? I'm gonna get a little closer. I'm like squatting right now, but basically I was in Tibet in April. A video will be out for that, going to see Mount Everest, crazy. But on the trip, there was this guy named Sam. Shout out Sam. Hope you're doing well if you this. He had done 2 of these 10-day meditation retreats in Thailand, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And at the time, throughout the trip, we were just observing the life of monks, observing what they do, and observing, Tibetan Buddhism, huge part of their culture, very spiritual place. And so it was eye-opening, and I wanted to, it was like a down the line, I want to do this type of retreat, but then, hey, it ended up happening. That's the reasoning why I chose to do it. And so now I'm gonna get into, and also it's important to note that I was like a novice monk for 5 days when I was 11 and 12. I'll show you a photo if you don't believe me, but I shaved my head, this whole thing, and I can talk about that later, but that's not the important thing. What I want to get into is how crazy it is nowadays to just not consume anything at all for 10 days, and what that did to me, what that did to my mind, and what that did to my body, especially the eating. It was a vegetarian, 2 meals. I'll have the schedule, and this was hard both physically and mentally. So physically, the first couple of days, I'm an active person. I like to do a lot of things. I have a lot of like physical activity in my life, day-to-day life, and not being able to release my energy in physical ways was super difficult. And also the vegetarianism, the dieting was rewiring and retransforming my biochemistry within my body. And this Vipassana technique is to examine the phenomenon of the mind and matter, the mind and body, and how it all works. And so naturally, I'm a curious person to see how these things work. I started meditating a year and a half ago, but it's been on and off with the consistency. I've noticed benefits from just doing that. So I was obviously aware of how I could calm my mind, focus my mind, concentrate my mind. But this 10 days took this to a whole nother level, like a whole nother level. I'll just say in the first beginning part of the course, my mind was just so much was on, like, oh, I have to do this. What about this pass, like just a complete disarray of mental activity. I knew it was normal because like I wasn't consuming anything. I was just sitting for 10 hours a day in silence, complete silence, just observing my breath. And I had like Mamma Mia playing in my mind for the first 2 days. I had a lot of like Tame Impala, just so much music. I listened to a lot of music, like of everything. And so a lot of music was playing in my mind. And then it gets to a point where you can, after a certain hump, I'm not going to go to like the day-to-day details. If you want to know about that, I'll probably write something or I'll make another video if you're curious. But so the first third of the course was just, holy cow, what am I doing here? Like, what made me want to do this? A lot of doubt, a lot of confusion, normal things, old habits of mind, mental patterns, and then getting to the stage where you actually like get into the depth of the technique, which is just seeing reality as it is. A verse that I really resonate with from the Bible is look not here nor there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. And that's essentially what we're getting at. Luke 17:21. And this teaching was originated from Gautama the Buddha. It's kept in a pure form from 2,500 years ago, ancient practice, and it's meant to really focus on just, you have to do the work. Like, it was some of the hardest work I've ever done in my life for a prolonged period because of such difficulty of just normal day-to-day life gets you so bogged down in external things. So you're really honing in onto your internal reality. No one ever teaches you this. No one ever teaches you to observe your mind or whatnot. So that was a huge thing. Just learning to be aware of the mind and not get consumed in its chatter. Just being aware of that was a huge takeaway. And then also there's this quote by a great poet, Meek Mill. He says, take a look at yourself, take yourself out of your body, and then look at yourself and see how you're playing yourself. That was key. That's something that stuck with me in my mind, because we develop so many habits and tendencies, and it's essentially cravings and aversions that you notice in your body, sensations that crave and make you avert things. And that's really the core of what I'm getting at. In those 10 days, I've never experienced so many like resurfacing of past traumas, experiences, like deep complexes within my mind that were kind of subconsciously programming my day-to-day life and in my life in general. And so there's a lot of sayings that I like to use to try to describe like whatever I just went through, because it makes sense. But there's like 3 levels of knowing. One is like reading things. There's one where you're kind of logically trying to rationalize things after you read them. And then one more is like the experiential knowing and experiential wisdom. Living wisdom is what this course really teaches you to pursue, and it's a trial, of course, 10 days. But to the ordinary person, it's ridiculous. It is truly ridiculous, and I can't believe I finished it. So going into the course, I just kept an open mind and was honestly, whatever happens, and I'm gonna stay. Like, that was my constant reminder, I'm gonna stay. I had Interstellar playing in my mind for so long, and a lot of things would come up, and there would be these group sittings, and I would just start tearing up. And I'm not afraid to admit, but I was dealing with a lot of emotions, of like deeply rooted. So it's like a tree, right? You go down in the roots, down, lower. There's this quote, I don't know by who, maybe Carl Jung, but he says that a tree that aspires to heaven can only get there if its roots reach down to the depths of hell. And there's these sayings, again, I in my own experience, I'm just speaking from my own experience, so this is not to be taken for everyone to be true. I'm just sharing my own beliefs. But essentially, you are like a slave to your mind and like these patterns of your mind. And these all sound so like woo-woo, but it's like if you get to the depths of what's going on and experience it for yourself, then you'll see yourself. And I say this lightly to encourage people. The reason why I'm making this video is just to show a lot of people that I know in my life will never do this course, and that's okay. And you can just hear about it from my story. Might be entertainment for others, it might be inspiration. That's some part of what I'm saying resonates with them because it already exists within them. And so I'm just inspiring that, just watering that. So I'm rambling. I haven't spoken. Like, that was hard for a couple days. But I will say there's an asterisk. Every day you have the option to meet with the teacher. The teacher is Goenka, but there's like another teacher, physical teacher. Goenka is passed away now. And you watch discourses every evening, which were very spot on with like the practice every single night. I realize I'm talking a little vague because honestly, it was just incredibly difficult, but I can't like really put it into words. It's like I'm trying to do like art. Like, I'm trying to paint something, but everyone's gonna see it differently, or the experiences differently. And so you just have to see it for yourself. And now I'll get a little deeper into the practice. I'll sit down now. So what is happening within myself, what I realized was happening within myself were these deep-rooted like behavior, like thought patterns and thought loops based on like cravings and aversions. And they're called samskaras. It doesn't matter if you know what the word really means or whatnot, but basically just things like that you keep reacting. Like, your mind is reacting and saying things, and you lose track. Okay, all right.